Hello, hello. As I am sure you are all well aware, OnPassive has been building its presence primarily through the viral efforts of its founders. Personally, I believe that to be an excellent strategy, and the way GoFounders was introduced and later rolled out, I consider nothing short of incredible. With the passing of time, I've come to the conclusion that the whole concept is not without its own genius, as I came to realize that although OnPassive will lift up millions of people, it's been built for the founders. It all started with the recruiting efforts of one man that had an idea for a business based on a radical concept that was posed in the form of a question. What would it look like to build a community of like-minded people whose efforts to build a business as partners were in cooperation with and mutually beneficial to everyone else in the business? Well, little did we know that by simply asking that question, Mr. Mufara launched himself and untold others into a realm of new science by answering the call of a global consciousness that placed him center stage in the online marketing paradigm shift that is OnPassive. The first three people that caught his yet undeveloped vision at the time joined with him, becoming founders before we even had a name. In doing so, they marked the first milestone in a newly formed business, the completed first level of what has since become known as GoFounders. That was a couple of years ago. As of February 2020, this year, OnPassive surpassed the 60,000 founder mark, which is an astonishing feat by any standard. Having that many paid members in a company before the company's even launched has never been achieved as far as I know. This means OnPassive made history before we've even launched. Woo-hoo. Pretty cool stuff. Our CEO, Mr. Mufara, he has a way of talking that sometimes just makes me smile, man. Here's something he said a while back. Quote, "We are a fresh concept. It's almost insane. And when it sounds like it's insane, you've got a winner." Unquote. Yes, sir. I believe we do, Mr. Mufara. Anyway, I suppose relative to business, 60,000 founders is a lot. But imagine being in a company with millions of members, millions of buyers and resellers. Because with OnPassive, that's not only possible, it's probable because there's so many companies that are able to use our many platforms. Numbers like 60, 80, or even 100,000, they don't seem so big once you stack them up and compare them to millions, especially when a portion of those millions are working for you, the founder, in a manner of speaking. Here's another quote from Mr. Mufara. Quote, "Between a couple of companies, we know there are close to 10 million reps that potentially, almost immediately, they will join OnPassive, so we can no longer say, what if this works? Initially, 100,000 in a year would be reasonable, but what if we did get 10 million in the first year?" Unquote. Wow. Sometimes all I can say is wow. The potential of OnPassive is staggering. I personally believe that we're going to hit the 65,000 mark about the same time the campaigns start, and by the time we launch, I fully expect OnPassive to obtain what I call a unicorn structure, meaning that we'll have at least 84,000 founders. This is to say that when that many founders have fully funded accounts, it results in a unicorn status for OnPassive. Now, I'm not going to explain any more about that right here, but if you aren't familiar with the term unicorn, I would certainly recommend you look it up. The point is, don't be concerned about the number of founders there are at launch. Be concerned that you're one of them. Because like I've previously said, the real advantage to being with OnPassive is the opportunity, which I believe is going to go away in several short weeks, to become a founder. And you know what? Despite our growth, founders are still considered the top 1% of the company, since our positions are located, well, figuratively, at the top. But if anybody really wants to know what that number means in terms of what we can expect to see for our membership, just multiply that number of founders by 100. And those numbers are certainly doable and highly probable over time. But those listening that aren't founders, and even some that are, probably wonder what's so good about the $97 founder deal. Well, the answer is simple. Founders are positioned at the top of the pay plan. You see, OnPassive's customers, the buyers and resellers that are brought in post-launch, are placed in the founders' teams. In this way, OnPassive shares profits from the sales made to and by these customers with the founders, which can prove quite lucrative for us, especially if we have other founders in our team. So let me say a couple of things, and then let me explain that better so that we can have a much more transparent understanding of what I'm talking about. Firstly, let's be transparent about the cost. The $97 cost of the founder's position is exactly that. It's a position that allows teams. That's all. It does not buy or pay for anything else. It is a highly discounted fee that gets us in the founder's position for 1 year that starts from the day we launch. Secondly, a customer within OnPassive is someone that purchases products from OnPassive for use in one or more other businesses or resells OnPassive's products as a business to others as tools for use in one or more other businesses. This is where we get the terms buyer and reseller that we've mentioned before. Thirdly, let's assume, in theory at least, since I have no idea what these campaigns are going to produce, that OnPassive will place one member per month in each of the founders' teams. So, if you're a primary early bird founder with no team, which means in essence that you are your team because as a founder you get to have a team, when we launch, the campaigns are going to begin placing customers in a team for you. Each customer in your team will generate sales as a buyer or reseller and represents one residual income stream for you. After 3 months, you potentially have 3 members in your team generating sales that each represent a stream of income for you. Now, suppose on the other hand that you're a primary founder and you have one other founder in your team. Given the same assumptions, in 3 months you're going to have 3 members in your team and 4 members in your second team consisting of the founder plus the 3 additional members. This potentially gives you 7 streams of income. Now think about this. What happens if you have 10 founders in your team when we launch? Well, there's you with 3 members. That represents 3 income streams. The 10 founders, which represent 10 more income streams, and 3 members in each team of those 10 founders, which represent an additional 30 income streams. In total, you're going to potentially have 43 income streams, okay? But what happens if you invite 10 more founders to join and they accept? Or what happens if OnPassive adds 2, 3, or even more to your teams each month? Now let me back up just a bit because OnPassive is providing a free yet incredibly valuable benefit to the founders. This freebie, quote unquote, is critical for anyone that's wanting quick and massive success as an early founder. It's also a prime example of what we're talking about when we do talk about cooperation and mutual benefit, because OnPassive didn't have to do this for us. I'm talking about the global marketing campaigns that OnPassive is going to run before we launch that are specifically designed to attract additional founders. Those that join from those campaigns are considered secondary founders as a frame of reference, but they're founders nonetheless, so they can also have teams. Secondary founders are placed in existing early bird founders teams. This means you can potentially have a team of 1, 12, 50 founders already in place before we launch. Who knows? To me, the campaigns are the real wild card in the deck that OnPassive has stacked in favor of GoFounders. What effect do you think having teams of founders in place prior to launch is going to have on your future? Think about this, remembering that we only have about 2 weeks before these campaigns actually start. Listen to me, please. 3 days ago, the non-disclosure was deployed throughout GoFounders. In a couple of weeks, pre-launch marketing campaigns are going to sweep the globe while blanketing every social media platform on the planet as well. So when you see the campaigns happening and you're not a founder, then it means that you're already missing out. It means you've missed the first campaign, but it's still not too late for you. You can still become a founder right up until we launch, remember? OnPassive is a done deal, guys. And OnPassive is a big deal. I would recommend becoming a founder immediately. I would encourage you to get signed up first and then go learn more. And you can start that in your GoFounders back office, where you can view recorded webinars, you can download tons of marketing stuff, and even post and communicate with other founders from the social media platform there. Lastly, I want to ensure that you get an invitation to join if you aren't already a member. But if an existing member sent you here or gave you an invitation to join GoFounders, then please get back with that founder and sign up in their team. That would mean a lot to them, and keeping your integrity intact will probably make you feel pretty good too. However, if you're here and you'd like an invitation because you intuitively know this is right for you and that you have what it takes to be a founder, then please, by all means, click the link in the description box below and join right now. You'll be so glad you joined this adventure that you're hardly going to be able to sleep. And for obvious reasons, I'd sure appreciate having you on my team. So thank you very much. I certainly appreciate you listening to everything that I've said here. I hope that you got something out of it. I'll be talking in the next video about the use of AI throughout OnPassive. So I appreciate you listening. I appreciate your encouragement, and I wish blessings and blessings upon you and upon yours.